It's time, baby. I don't know about you guys, but maybe there's a time of the season, a time of the year that you look forward to every year, that you're counting down the days towards, and whenever you reach it, you just take a deep breath and you're like, I made it. Well, that's how I feel about weekend rollouts, because man, oh man, we're in one, and you just feel it in the air, this excitement, this happiness. Let's talk about it. So recently, The Weeknd has given a couple of tweet and deletes regarding this song title. Some people even theorize it's the album title, but I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet. Something along the lines of everything fades or everything will fade. And as I'm recording this video right now on Friday, February 23rd, he is deleting tweets from the Weeknd Twitter account. Now, on top of that, if you look up any Weeknd album, they will come up as an album by Abel Tesfaye, which is, And to celebrate this occasion, I'm gonna give you 5 more things that I'm hoping for or expecting from this next Weeknd album. I wanna get your thoughts in the comments below. Let's sound off, let's have this conversation, because ladies and gentlemen, here we are, it's coming. Oh man, I gotta get my stretches in, let's do this. So number 1, throughout the After Hours trilogy, we've gotten sneak peeks and snippets of songs that haven't come out yet, and it is infuriating. Go to any Weeknd fan and say the words, "Take me back to LA," and "I like it when you're angry," and watch their face shrivel up in anger. Watch them just try to explain to you the frustration they feel with the fact that we haven't gotten official releases of these songs. Just to make it all the more frustrating, The Weeknd actually teased a little bit of "Take Me Back to LA" by singing it at the end of one of his concerts from the European leg, I believe, of the After Hours Till Dawn tour. Take me back to And let's live in this fictional world where "Take Me Back to LA" does pop up on the album. That would make it a really interesting follow-up to the record from After Hours, "Escape from LA," which in the album, LA represents this hell disguised as paradise, this place where his sins and vices are always found and live in. It might indicate The Weeknd relapsing and falling back on bad habits, even up to this last point, adding some tension as to what the fate of the Weeknd character is, even after going through this purgatorial loop on Dawn FM. But on that note, number 2, I think it's a safe bet that we are going to get some callbacks to past eras. Like, the biggest example I have for this comes from After Hours, where he talks about, "I've been feeling Cali was the mission, but now we're leaving." That calls back to Trilogy. "Order plane tickets, Cali is the mission. Visit every month like I'm split life living." From Beauty Behind the Madness, where he talks about, again, Cali was the mission. "Man, I miss my city, man, it's been a minute. MIA, your habit, Cali was a mission." And moments like that do pop up all over his discography. But there were pictures recently, and very interesting pictures at that. I believe it was for some birthday party or something, where you see Abel sporting a very familiar mustache. And if you'll excuse me for a moment, I need to do a little wardrobe change. Not exactly perfect, but you know, it does feel a lot better. But obviously, the stash in question calls back to the After Hours era. And that begs the question, in a visual form, I think is the most important part. Are we gonna get a callback to the After Hours era Abel? Maybe in a music video, we check in with the character, maybe we have a flashback to a moment during that era, and we get to see some inner working of that character that leads into this last album somehow. STACHE, ladies and gentlemen, that's what this is. What does a stash mean? But also on that note, and I wanna bring this up and come a little closer. Maybe he just wanted to grow a stash. I don't know. Then again, you do never know with Abel. As he said, nothing is ever random. So we'll see how it goes. On to number 3, there's a couple things that we've heard about in terms of track names. And I'm going to talk about 2. Obviously, Everything Fades. We saw a picture of it, of him working in the studio with the title Everything Fades, and he alluded to on Twitter, as I said before, something along those lines. But also I got a little hunch that we might be getting a track titled Afterlife. Now, there was an article this past summer where Abel was talking about the next album, rumors, speculation that the fans had, and he said that there is a title going around throughout the fan base, throughout XO, that is not exactly the title of the album, but everyone thinks it is. However, it's rather a title of a song. There's only like 2 or 3 rumored titles that we've been tossing around: Horizon, Afterlife. I saw someone say After Dawn, which would be a cool little combination, but I don't think it's gonna be that. So yeah, Afterlife could be a really cool song. Maybe it's the first track that lets us know where the Weeknd character has been since Dawn FM. Or is this the final Weeknd track that lets us know where this character resides forever? Damn. Take a shot in the dark and let me know where you think these songs will land in the track list. Now this next one is something that I'm willing to bet the house on. Are you ready? So I'm going to bet everything on my life that the next album cover will involve the Weeknd like this, like somehow like in some variation of this, or maybe a little that, I don't know. So far, the After Hours trilogy's album covers have consisted of portraits of the Weeknd character at key moments in this big arc that we're going on. After Hours sees him as this predatorial, life of the party, heartless character. And with Dawn FM, the smile is faded. He's grown old and gray. What used to be a face of blissful ignorance has now become a face of regret, which is definitely reflected in songs like Out of Time. This begs the question, where will we find the Weeknd character this time around? Is he happy? Has he become an extraterrestrial being? Has he been reborn as Baby Abel? Or Babel, if you will. I don't know. But again, I'm betting the house. It is on. The banking account number is... And last but not least, before we get into just overall discussion on everything Fades and this last album and whatnot, it's very clear to me that there is going to be some kind of cinematic component to this album. Now, it's been said already that there's going to be a second documentary for the European and Latin American leg of the After Hours tour. But something happened very recently. On Abel's birthday, he went to a movie theater and I guess played this video that showed footage of him as a baby, as a child, which again calls back to a recurring theme, something that happened in the How Do I Make You Love Me music video of him being reborn and shedding this skin and making his inner child self known to the public. Someone from EXO made a very interesting tweet that I want to bring up on screen here, basically saying that a couple weeks back, Abel posted this picture on his Instagram story from a film called Cinema Paradiso, where a man goes back to a theater to watch back his life as a child and reminisce when he was a young boy falling in love with cinema. Now that is interesting. Now there is a chance that, you know, he was just wanting to reminisce and look back on this beautiful journey as he's putting a bookend on this Weeknd chapter of his life. But also, what are the chances that maybe he's looking at the first cut or a rough cut of something that we could be getting sometime soon? Maybe a Weeknd documentary, which could be really cool. And there's also that film starring Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan that is also starring and involving the Weeknd. And that is interesting to me because there were set photos recently where you see this child. He's in this trailer. I think he was just showing off like, wow, look at me, I finally got into a movie. And you see in the background, in the name of the trailer, Child Abel. Whew, man, if we get the Weeknd film that accompanies this last album, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. But yeah, that's what I've got for 5 things that I'm hoping for, expecting. Please let me know your thoughts and yell at me if I'm wrong, cheer me on if I'm right. But also, I want to take this time to reminisce a little bit and just like appreciate the fact that we are here. This is the final Weeknd album rollout. And I know I got some talk on the last video like, yo, you're treating this like he's never dropping music again. Well, yeah. This Weeknd character that you know and love is not going to be dropping music after this. This is going to be Abel Tesfaye, and I truly, truly, truly believe that this is going to be something different. Shit, man. This last album could be the first album by Abel Tesfaye, but I'm not ready to go there yet. I still think this final album will wrap up the Weeknd, and maybe the last track is the Weeknd featuring Abel Tesfaye. So there's a couple rules that I want to start with this channel moving forward, is that if you're here in PO's place, I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, I want you to think deeply. I want you to not just consume content, but Let it sit, let it marinate, think about it. Why does it resonate with you? What aspects of your life do you project onto this piece of art that you love? Number 2, support the artists, whether it be verbally supporting them on Twitter. If you have the resources and money, support their merch and all that stuff. And number 3, I want you to speculate wildly. Part of the appeal of social media is talking to people and agreeing or disagreeing, bouncing ideas off of one another. And I want this to be a place where you can talk about anything and everything, where you can be right, you can be wrong. But either way, this is a place of love. We're all gonna hang out, we're all gonna have fun, we're all gonna enjoy the Weeknd's album. And even if we don't enjoy it, it's gonna be a memorable experience. So, and if I may add like a half rule, I want you to love what you love unabashedly, without any judgment of anyone else in this world, because at the end of the day, this whole life thing is hard enough and it's a lot smoother when you're happy. So if you find something that does make you happy, just go for it. That's been P.O.'s Place. I'm back in front of my closet. You know how it goes. And man, another Weeknd album rollout. Enjoy the moment, baby. Take care.